Hello everybody, my name is Dusty and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be finishing up the Nicole video. I wasn't going to do this originally because a lot of people I think might be getting annoyed with just me focusing on her. I actually had a different video planned, one that kind of goes over my African clawed frogs. That tends to be the thing that most people might recognize me for because I love my African clawed frogs. But a lot of people in the comments, maybe like 15, 20 of you that I noticed said make a second part. She talks about something that's kind of important. I don't know what it is. We are halfway through on this video, so I figured we might as well continue on. This is going to be my last Nicole video for a while. The reason being is because I don't want people to think I am just making content about her to get views and stuff because of drama. I'm not. I'm making these videos because I think they're important, because she's kind of, like I said, the gold standard for our community. She is the leader in our community, and so I want just to make sure that she's taking care of her animals, and a lot of people seem to be concerned, so I thought I should probably be concerned as well. So we're gonna go ahead and watch the rest of this video, and I'm gonna do the exact same thing as I did last time. I'm not really gonna cut or edit anything out. We'll just go with it, and I'll comment as we go. So let's just jump right into it.
This one is the bearded dragon situation. My bearded dragon was sold to me with a damaged tail. I talked about it after I got the amputation, and I talked about my story of trying all different things before amputating. I did not know for sure who sold it to me. I didn't remember. I talked about it and I posted a picture of the booth, and multiple people kept telling me, oh, it sounds like this company called South Texas Dragons. They kept saying, oh, that's the booth. Oh, you know, that flyer in the background literally has their logo. They didn't actually sell her the... this, oh, that. And so I finally said, you know, that does sound right. I do remember seeing South Texas Dragons. Yeah, I think I got it from them, but their bearded dragons look great, other than Twisty. And I literally said that in the video. I literally said in my video, nothing bad about the company. I didn't drop their name. I blurred out their logo.
What I will say though is that while she didn't comment in the video, if she did say it sounded familiar and that she might have gotten them, that's just setting them up for failure. People with her following, she has to be extremely careful about what she says. You know, if she were to buy an animal and she tells somebody that it's sick and that she shouldn't go there anymore and blah, 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 the 1.5 million people that are following her are going to go and do something. Not necessarily all of them, but there are those people who do follow her that are hardcore fans that might go and harass somebody. And I'm not saying that all of them would, but you just never know. And being a creator, being somebody with influence, you have to be careful of what you say, because one wrong word, one wrong phrase could be setting somebody else up for failure.
Logo, but in a post I did on Instagram, I did drop their name, and on Twitter. I said their name once in a comment on Instagram, and
even saying that name once, you can mess up somebody's life. There was a streamer not too long ago, I think it was Drama Alert, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Drama Alert, but they called out this elderly man as like being a pedophile on a stream, and everybody went and started attacking him, and he ended up leaving. He decided not to stream anymore, and it was the wrong guy. It was the absolute wrong guy. So you have to be careful of what you say when you have influence.
And someone replied, like, I did not sell you a sick bearded dragon, blah, blah, blah. He was so healthy. So I thought, you know, that person was, one, validating that they are South Texas Dragons, and two, saying, you're wrong, it was healthy. So that's when I stuck with the fact that it was South Texas Dragons. I shouldn't have done that. I did not realize the magnitude of my voice on the internet. I never do. I just tell stories like they happen.
And I understand that. Maybe she didn't know, but you have to remember too, even with a couple thousand followers or subscribers, you can make an influence on somebody. You can make an impact on their lives. So you gotta be careful. You really do. Like, even like my video, right? When I posted my first Nicole video, I had 688 subscribers. And I posted the video, and now it has over 30,000 views, and I have over 1,500 subscribers now. You have to be careful. Even the smallest voice could make a video or call somebody out, and next thing you know, a tidal wave happens. You just gotta be careful.
Happen, and then I don't realize people are going to like go attack the company and stuff. I just don't. I know that's stupid, and I should know better by now, and I'm trying to remember that.
At least she's apologizing. She's apologizing. That's good.
People are constantly saying that I never apologized to them when I literally did months and months and months and months ago. I'll pull up the email here. People will probably say it's edited, but we had a conversation. I apologize.
And that's the other thing too, is you don't know what she's doing in private. I can criticize her, or I can like add in something like a compliment or something she can improve. But I don't know what she's doing behind the scenes. We only see what's in front of the camera. So she could have apologized, but nobody else knows that. And I think that's a very important point to make. I've made mistakes on my channel, and I've apologized for them. Usually I try to apologize publicly. Like when I made the Aquarium Co-op video, Corey and I had a conversation on the channel, on the video, in the comments, and you can see that it's public. And I think that's one of those other things where it has to make sure that she advertises that open communication more. Because if she had posted the email or posted something to kind of be like, hey guys, I didn't mean to, I'm so sorry, I apologized, here you go, maybe it would have calmed that situation down a lot. And to be completely honest, having to amputate a bearded dragon's tail is not the worst thing in the world. I've seen her bearded dragon. It's still fine, healthy, alive. My bearded dragon, when I got her, was missing a nail on her toe. You know, things happen. You're dealing with exotic animals. It's bound to happen sooner or later. I'm not going to say that it was her fault for what happened. But again, it's one of those things where you probably shouldn't have bought it if you notice something's wrong with it. But I think she did do something useful. I'll say that.
Apologize forever ago to them. It was just miscommunication, and the person who did sell me Twisty to this day insists that it was healthy when I sold it, that my cats chewed on its tail, that I broke it at the expo, that it was bred that way. They've come up with so many different weird excuses instead of just saying, I'm sorry that you're unsatisfied with the bearded dragon I sold you. I think the whole situation was extremely unprofessional. I probably could have handled it a lot better too. I didn't have to talk about it online, but again, I just don't realize my magnitude.
But it's one of those things too, she's an influencer. She's going to talk about it online. As that company, if they didn't know who she was, they can't be mad at her for talking about it, because again, it's her job to talk about stuff like this. So I think that's an important point to draw out too, that company probably should have been more careful, because if they figured out who she was, because maybe they were having a conversation back and forth, they would know how big her following is, and that's something that company should have kept in mind too. I'm not saying it's their fault, but it's definitely something they should have kept in mind.
The magnitude of my voice. So I'll be more careful, and I'm sorry that it made people so upset. But I did apologize to South Texas Dragons. Good. So there's that. The monitor situation.
And I just want to say with bearded dragons, I bought my bearded dragon at Expo, and I still have their business card. I never threw it away. I think I have it in my wallet. The reason why I kept their business card for so long was just because you never know, and I like to share good things that happen with me with other people, so I always keep the card. If it's not in my wallet, it's in my car, just for future reference. So when I buy an animal from an expo person, a person at the expo, I keep their information just in case, because you never know. And if it turns out to be an awesome purchase, like I bought tarantulas that are awesome purchases from expos, I keep their information so I can spread that, and vice versa if it was bad.
Situation, I've said from day one that was a really crappy choice. I impulse bought a monitor. I
made a video about this.
Didn't even know what kind of monitor I had for a while.
Made that video.
It was really bad. It was really, really impulsive of me. And I 100% would have given him away if I did not have the money and means to just step up my care. He's in a 360-gallon tank now. He has everything he needs, especially for his size. He's thriving, he eats great, he interacts great, he has a big pool, he has areas to climb. I've talked about that situation a million times over. I've said it was wrong, I've said it was crappy, that I wasn't thinking straight. I don't know what more to tell you guys about that, but yeah, it was a bad choice. And I'm sorry, and I really am. That was crappy, I agree with that. Now there is one story.
I will say that it is nice that she did apologize.
Boyfriend smoking in the same room as my satanic leaf geckos. That's true, we did. I 100% thought I was being safe. I don't really smoke much ever, so I don't know much. I know this sounds really stupid, but I don't know, like, oh, you have to be this far or else it's still dangerous. Like, I don't know. I've seen people smoke in the same room as things before, and I didn't understand how dangerous it was, and I've definitely researched now more about it and know never to do it again, but I did do it that one time. And
Apology. I like that. Here. Good job, Taylor.
I had these windows open way up there. They slide open.
I will say though, with the apology, I think not explaining it any further would have been best. Not trying to like justify like the window was open, but simply just saying it was messed up. I'm sorry. I'm not going to do it again. What I'll say is this: most of these criticisms that are going against her, all she literally has to do is say I'm sorry. Some of them I do agree fight back, like the cats and the bearded dragon fight back, but most of these accusations just say, I'm sorry, like I made a mistake, we're human, and I think a lot more people would be more receptive of that than talking about like, oh, the windows were open, or this person was saying this to me, because literally all you have to do is just say I'm sorry, and then move on. Like a lot of the times I've messed up, all I say is I'm sorry, just because adding more to it is just kind of adding fuel to the fire. Like, oh, the windows were open, so that justifies it. I don't think so. Blah 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 blah. It would have been just easier just to say I'm sorry.
Fan going up there, and
see, she's continuously trying to justify it. Just say sorry.
Ceilings are super big, and I honestly
say sorry.
thought I was being safe. It wasn't like we were chain smoking in here. It was one little thing, and that sucks. And I don't even smoke anymore. I haven't smoked in months and months and months, honestly. I don't remember the last time I have, and I don't. My satanics are all doing great still. They have a clean bill of health. They are still thriving, and people told me I was gonna kill those things in a week, and it's been a year now, and they're all thriving. So it was a very stupid thing to do. And I'm sorry, and I hope you guys can still trust me and enjoy my videos even though I did that, because honestly,
again, it's one of those things, all she could have said was I'm sorry, and I know for me personally, I would have been satisfied with that. I saw that video and I didn't think it was too big of a deal. I know they're super sensitive, but I had figured she'd have windows open or something. Was it dumb? Yeah, maybe, but did it actually cause harm to them? No. It's more like one of those things where it could have. And that's what worried a lot of people, and it worried me. But I will say that if she had just said, I'm sorry, it was dumb, I would have accepted that too. I think going into too much detail is kind of where she gets herself in trouble.
It will never, ever happen again. It won't. The rat situation, people are saying I impulse bought them. I think there's
I will say on this topic, I'm not gonna say I know rats, because I really don't know much about rats. I have a hamster, and that's about it. I had a guinea pig once. I don't know if they're similar or not. To make society, I really don't handle the small animals because I'm allergic to Timothy hay. So I don't know much about rats.
Difference between unplanned buys and impulsive buys. I was not planning to have rats, but I did think I was fully prepared to take on everything that needed to be taken on. There was rumors that their cage was too small, which was really dumb because I made it very clear that I was going to upgrade them very quickly. I went ahead and upgraded even quicker than I planned. They are in a double critter nation now, which is...
I kept my hamster in one of those critter trail cages for like a month. I didn't know I was doing anything wrong. I had it hooked up to a 10-gallon tank that I'm not using for my African clawed frogs, but again, it's one of those things too where like, you can temporarily house animals. I have a cichlid in a 40-gallon tank. He's going to get a 75 in the future, but right now, it's fine. He's temporarily being housed. I'm using it as a quarantine tank, so to speak. So I think it's one of those things too where people jump the gun very quickly, and I do agree with Taylor on that.
A great size for 3 rats. The rats are spayed. I made that very clear in the video, so I don't know why people are telling me that I'm just letting them breed like crazy. They are spayed. And when it comes...
And even if she was letting them breed, what's it to you? Just kind of defending her here. I mean, like, I breed my animals, right? I was thinking about breeding my hamsters, but what's it to you if she's breeding them or not? If she is, maybe she's deciding to use the offspring for snake food. I mean, like, it sounds bad, but it's one of those things too where it's like, why does that concern you, what she's doing with them? If she decided to breed them, she's breeding them. If she's not, she's not. It's up to her, and it's up to her alone. So I think it's one of those things where people have to mind their own business.
To taking criticism about things, literally anytime people give me suggestions, I don't think people realize how much suggestions that I do take. Instead, they focus on the ones that I ignore or don't see. I don't respond to people that are rude or abrasive,
I wouldn't either.
They might tell me something just like, hey, don't do that. But then
and I've had conversations with Taylor Nicole Dean on Twitter. We've gone back and forth a couple times. Not bad, but in a good light. I do think she's very nice on Twitter. I think she's open to criticism. I just think the hard part is because she takes so much criticism, the good suggestions are the ones she tends to ignore. Not on purpose, but maybe because she just doesn't see them because she's too busy retaliating against something else that somebody else said. So I think that's an important point. I think she tries to filter through them, but I do think there are a couple that I've seen that were really good suggestions that went ignored because she was too busy focusing on something negative instead. So, yeah.
I click on their profile, and I just see tons and tons of hate towards me, like mean things. So then I just block them because I don't want to deal with that. I just want to take advice and talk about animals with people, but I don't.
And there's a difference between hate and criticism. I've made that very clear. If you're going to hate on her, then of course you deserve to be blocked. If you're going to criticize her, maybe not so much. I have people who criticize me on my channel all the time. I don't block them. I take that advice. You know, like somebody criticized me for liking all the comments, even though some of them were negative towards Taylor. I like all the comments so people know I'm reading them, because I don't like when I type something or comment on something and it doesn't feel like the person read it. You guys are literally taking your time out of your day to watch my video. The least I can do is read your comments. So I try to read all the comments. In that regard, you know, I don't know, it's hard.
I don't want mean stuff being thrown around. So yeah, I do block people if I've answered something a million times.
And sometimes it's hard to differentiate the difference between hate and criticism.
About it, I do block it because I have extremely, extremely bad anxiety. I don't handle that kind of stuff well. I find it better just to separate.
And not to downplay mental illness, because I think it's a very important conversation. I worked at a center for students with disabilities. I think it's also important to remember that she is in the public light, though, so she has to get used to receiving criticism and hate. Not that she has to accept it as fact, but she has to get used to receiving it. If you don't get used to receiving it, you're not going to do very well as you grow. And I'd hope that Taylor wants to continue to grow in her channel, and if you can't handle the hate or the criticism, it's going to be very hard on you as you get bigger and bigger and bigger. I mean, I'm only at 1,500 subscribers, and I'm already starting to get hate. You have to learn to cope with that and deal with that really quickly.
Separate myself.
Hello. Oh, thank you.
Welcome.
From it. I'm sorry. I'm so open to learning about animals. Extremely. I always want the best for my animals. So,
and we see that all the time.
One time I thought that I was going to do quarantine with one of my animals in a bathroom, and I was like, I'm going to put the quarantine tank in my bathroom. And a lot of people were like, don't do that. That's not a safe spot to do quarantine. So I didn't do it.
Why? I know a lot of people who keep fish and they quarantine in their bathroom. A lot of people even do it in their bathtubs. You have to make sure that it's clean and free of soap. So I don't really know why it would be bad to do it in a bathroom.
A lot of people were saying, hey, don't feed your rats anything with alfalfa in it. I stopped.
I don't know about that.
A lot of people were telling me, hey, don't use red heat lamps about a year ago. I stopped.
No, I use some red heat lamps. I think the misconception about red heat lamps is people leave them on at night and they think the reptile can't tell it's on, but they can completely tell it's on, so they can't sleep, and that's the main thing. So I have a red heat lamp on my Fairbilly toads. I keep that on 24 hours a day just because it's used as kind of like a heating source for them. I use red lamps, but I don't keep them on. Like my bearded dragon, if I did, Liz would have hers turned off every night. If I had them on my African clawed frogs, that would get turned off every night. So red heat lamps aren't bad, you just don't want to leave them on at night because the reptile can still see them.
That's obviously just 3 things off the top of my head, but like, I am so open to learning more things about animals, so I don't like that it's reflected, you know, that I don't. And I guess maybe I did that to myself by blocking people and not responding to everyone, and I'm sorry about that, but I just do what I think is best for my mental health, and I thought that was the best way to go about it, but I didn't realize I was making so many people so angry, so I'm very sorry.
I think the issue isn't like making people angry, it's just you block one person and then that person has a justification to hate you and to put more hate on you, and then it builds and builds and builds and builds. So I think it's like one of those snowball effects. You block one person and then more people and more people and more people know about it and think you're a bad person, and that's where it escalates out of control. You can block people all you want, but I think it's important to not block them because they're speaking ill about you, but maybe if they're doing death threats, block them, obviously. If they're threatening you in any way, block them. But if they're criticizing you, or maybe they're just saying like your animal care sucks, you shouldn't block them. That makes you look really bad. Just personal opinion anyway.
Sorry about that. So I'm gonna end this on something that I actually do think is a very valid concern, and something that I never really talked about with anyone except like therapists and me. There was a period in my life, this is what I'm gonna end this all off on. There was a period in my life where it was about last year until like March or April, so like a good 5 months of me just buying animals, like accumulating animals extremely fast. I went from, having 1 snake to having like 8 or 9 extremely quick. I brought in Twisty, I brought in my crabs, I brought in my satanics, I brought in my monitor. There was a period in my life where I was accumulating animals extremely, extremely fast. And I always was very defensive about it because before taking them in, I have spent so long like learning about animals, so I knew what I was taking in. Like, for example, my green tree python is doing amazing. And so even though I took him in probably way too quickly, I knew what I was doing when I took him in, and he's been thriving for a year. So I've been very defensive about that and refused to acknowledge that it was not a smart thing to do, because I was just like, you know, the animals are doing fine. Please stop saying that I'm hoarding them. Please stop saying these mean things.
And animals can do fine even in bad situations.
And while that side of it is true to me, it's also true to me.
I don't think it's a good thing that they're just doing fine. They should thrive. I think that's a point that I've seen a lot of people make, is you can keep an animal in terrible conditions and they'll be just fine, but it doesn't mean they're actually thriving. That doesn't mean they're living. It doesn't mean they're doing well. And if you hear those boots upstairs, that's just my sister's husband walking around. But you can thrive, you can have a ton of animals, but if they're not thriving and enjoying life, there's no point in keeping them.
That like I did some self-reflecting, and there was a time in my life where I was just not happy with myself at all, and the only thing that made me happy was taking care of animals. And I always...
Personally, that's the exact same thing with me. I had depression really bad my freshman year of college, and I ended up getting one fish my sophomore year, and one fish led to everything. Of course, I didn't take them on extremely quick, but I did upgrade them quickly. So I went from 1 betta fish to 2 betta fish to 2 African clawed frogs, and that's where I stuck for a while. And then I got into goldfish, and I got into hamsters and scorpions and tarantulas and axolotls. So I think I can relate to this heavily.
I just wanted a new animal to take care of. I still loved every one that I had, but I wanted to bring in more, and I wanted to keep taking care of animals and just explore all these different amazing creatures. And it just gave me this like natural high, basically, where I just felt so happy around these animals and euphoric. I still do feel that way, but I have slowed down a lot with my animals. I haven't bought a million or anything. I've gotten a few new snakes and stuff, but nothing crazy in a while. I plan to keep slowing down even more. So it's not to say that I'm like not gonna get...
I haven't gotten a new animal in months, and I think that's one of those things where she has to learn what her limits are. You reach a cap eventually. Even the earth reaches a cap where you can't sustain it anymore, and either things start dying off or you start getting rid of things. And I think that's where she is right now, which is good that she can at least acknowledge that's where she is.
Get more animals, but I'm definitely gonna do it much slower, and I'm never gonna go about it that way again, where I got so many so fast. I think it was part of like moving out on my own, because, you know, once I left my parents' house, I got my own place and I could buy any animal I wanted, and they couldn't tell me like I don't want that animal in my house or whatever. So I was just getting every animal that that I wanted. And that, yeah, I don't want that.
I mean, I'm gonna be honest, as soon as I move out, I'm getting a large lizard and a rabbit for sure. I want a rabbit, and I also want a monitor or an iguana. So I mean, like, I can understand
that to be my message on my channel. I don't. And it was an extremely, I don't want to use the word selfish, but it was just not a good message or influence on people who watched me. And it was reckless, I guess. That's a good word for it. So while it was
at least she's
a bad
acknowledging
decision, and I'm extremely okay with admitting that, I hope you know that the animals are safe, that they've never been in danger, because while I was accumulating them really fast, I was working my butt off every single day for them. I was making sure that they were safe, that they were healthy, that their temperatures are great, and their humidity, and that they were fed, and that they were watered, and that all this stuff.
And that's what you'd expect from somebody who uses this as their full-time job. That's why, like, there's a lot of criticism, and I think she's starting to hopefully people are starting to realize. She just said that she was working her butt off to make sure they were okay, and I think that's where the criticism starts to come in about how she didn't check on her animals for so long. How can she be a full-time animal caretaker? She just said that this was what she was doing. She said she was misting them down and taking care of them and working her butt off, but a couple months ago she hadn't. So awkward.
I was making sure. There was a period in my life where I was literally taking them to the vet every 4 months, because I wanted to make sure that, I'd get so nervous, like, what if they have something on the inside that I can't see? Like, and that's probably too much, but I did do that. And I've spent so much money and so much time on these animals, and while I don't think that alone is enough to prove that you're fit for taking care of your animals, I do think my animals are overall extremely healthy. I don't think they're all these things that people take one image of from forever ago or one angle of and say, oh, it looks like this from this angle, so I know
that's
it
hard.
means this.
So you can't do that.
Know that they're healthy because I
you
take
can't.
care of them every single day. I see them every single day, morning to night. I am with.
I mean, if you looked at Liz right now, you'd say she's unhealthy because she's just been sitting in her water bowl. You can't judge it off of one image. You can't.
Them. I learned to not get so many so quick is what I'm saying. I'm not suffering due to those actions. I'm not, regretting it or being overwhelmed now as the months have passed. I love every single animal that I've brought into this home, but I'm focusing on them. I'm not focusing on new animals. And that's not to say that, I'm not going to find other animals throughout the months that I might want to bring 1 or 2 more in, snakes or something, but it's going to slow down so much. And I'm really focusing, giving my all on what's already in this home.
Perfect.
And I'm extremely, out of everything.
Hit it on the mark.
I'm very sorry. I'm very sorry if I let you guys down because of that. But I promise I could redeem myself. I'm sorry that I wasn't smarter about it. I would never want to hurt these animals, ever. So, I will do anything for these animals, and I always will. There is speculation that I got so many because it's how I make my money, but I don't even talk about every single one of my animals on my YouTube videos. I don't. Like, other than if I do an all my pets video, you don't see every single one of my animals. So while yes, I do make my money by posting about them on YouTube, I mostly post about them on Instagram and Twitter, which I get $0 from. I love sharing my animals. I love animals. I love talking about them. I love showing you guys, watching them grow with me, watching, what they do each day. I love it. YouTube, of course, like I said, I love posting about them on here, but it's definitely not money driven. There's so many things I could have done with my life to try to make money on the internet, and I chose taking care of 20, 30 animals, and that's a pretty hard one to choose. So I did it for a reason, and it's not just for money. I adore these creatures more than life itself. I would lay down my life in a heartbeat for my animals. I would. I'm extremely sorry if it comes across that I don't take criticism. I am still learning a lot about myself and my anxiety issues. I'm still learning how they're affecting me daily because I haven't realized how bad they are until recently, like with the way I respond to negativity and how badly it scares me and how much it hurts for me to be disliked. I didn't realize that until recently, and I'm working on it. I'm working on accepting that some people are just gonna really, really hate me. And I'm working on still, knowing that I can still love myself. I'm extremely sorry if the way that I've handled myself has offended people. And I don't mean that in a way like, I'm sorry if it offended you, but I'm gonna keep doing it. I don't mean that. I mean, like, I'm legitimately sorry. I always think that, there must be something wrong with me if I made a person feel negatively, and then I don't know how to handle it, I shut down, and I'm working on it. This video was so hard for me to make, but I'm working on it. All I know is that, yes, I'm someone who has made mistakes, as I've listed, and some of the things I've defended, and other things I've just been like, yeah, I messed up there. If I ever thought I was in over my head, if I ever thought these animals need to be somewhere else for their own safety, they would be. I don't know if you guys remember, but I had seahorses one time. I loved those seahorses. God, I'm such a baby. I loved those seahorses so much, and literally one of the best parts of my day every day was seeing them, but I kept feeling like I wasn't doing enough for their fish tank. I felt like I kept messing up on it. So I found all of them a new home together, and they lived out their life together happily somewhere else because I knew that they'd be safer there. I promise I will make sure my animals are as safe as I could possibly make them be, and I honestly do feel like I'm doing a really good job at that. I hope this clears some of the things up. I don't want to say this and make it even worse, but there are some parts of the internet that know where I live, and they keep calling ACS, pretending they live here in my apartments, saying that I have dangerous animals running loose, saying that I have animals that are dying of starvation, being neglected, hoarded, covered in their own feces, these awful things. And ACS comes here every time just to clear me and leave. I literally have never gotten a single citation from Animal Care Services. And they go through every single animal because by law they have to make sure every single one is okay. And I've never received a single citation. And the sad thing is people are gonna keep calling them. And they can close my case for a number of months, and then they have to, by law, reopen it and come back. and this has been going on for a year now, and they're recently coming back. They just came back a few days ago. I'm debating, I'm gonna see if it's okay with them to film it next time they come so I could show you guys, because I feel like me just saying it isn't enough for you guys to believe me. People call my apartment all the time. They called it and they say, hi, I live here. I live right near someone who has so many animals, and she's just dangling them off the balcony, and she's doing all this stuff. There's so many noises and it smells so bad and all this stuff. They continuously pretend to live here, and then my apartment will say, okay, like, please come down and talk to us. And then what? Oh, they never do, because they don't live here. And people are pretending these things to try to get me evicted. People are doing these things to try to get my animals taken from me.
They shouldn't.
So I get having concerns about the animals' well-beings, but for you guys to continuously keep calling them and calling them.
My question is, and I've been thinking about this for a while, this fish tank, if I remember right, it's like a 250-gallon fish tank. Each gallon of water weighs roughly 10 pounds, so we're looking at a huge fish tank here. How does that floor support it? Honestly, that's the only question I have. How does that floor hold up? Is she on the first floor? Because if she's not and there's no basement, this will be going through the floor eventually. That's huge. It's a huge tank. But side note, sorry.
And calling them, that's no longer concern. That is harassment.
I have a 110-gallon stock tank, and I fear that thing's gonna go through the floor. And I live on the basement. I live in a basement, so.
So you could keep being concerned online, keep talking crap online. By all means, please be in your own little world on the internet and talk about me in any way that you want. But harassing me in real life,
that's true.
Here,
100%.
I'm literally.
You know, we can say whatever we want on this channel, and we can talk about her. And like, I've been making videos. Of course, I haven't been harassing her, but you can make videos about her. But that's completely different than showing up at her front door and knocking on her door. There was a case a couple months ago about the guy breaking into a YouTuber's house, and he hid in the closet. Like, that's insane. That's insane. You should definitely not be doing that. You shouldn't be even calling ACS on her, to be completely honest. Unless there was a concern, a legitimate concern that something was wrong, not just speculation, a legitimate concern. Leave her alone. Honestly, it's not that hard. I don't understand
having to try to get out of my lease early and move and find a new house.
That's the other thing, too, is with all those animals in her apartment, she should have found a house to begin with. I think Tyler Reggie rents a house. You should have found a house to begin with. I'm not trying to justify the calls or anything, but a house probably would have been better. You know?
And I would really appreciate it if you stopped, but I don't see why you would. But I felt like I'd ask.
Yeah, don't do that.
Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I'm sorry if this video disappointed you and didn't give you the answers that you were looking for.
Actually, it made me feel a lot better.
I guess at the end of the day, I know it's the truth and that's what matters. But I started this channel because I wanted to make people happy. So I just want to keep trying, you know? Keep trying to post content that makes people smile, make people's day easier, and thank you. And I promise to keep putting out content, just enjoying my animals and not about all this negativity. I'm not going to keep addressing this and feeding it. I'm going to get right back into just sharing my love of animals with you guys. Anyway, okay. I'm going to keep trying, like I said. Goodbye. After I turned this off, I promised myself I wasn't going to refilm this.
Oh my god.
But I was just going to be my initial answer is my answer kind of thing. I'm extremely nervous about this video. I am. And I probably talked extremely awkwardly in this, and I probably could have answered some things better, but I'm nervous. I really, really like making people happy. I don't care how dumb that sounds. The whole reason I made my YouTube channel was to make people smile, literally. I love animals to death, but I was gonna go to school for zoology and marine biology.
Same.
And just go work somewhere and learn about animals and study them and things like that. And then I figured out I have this niche where I have this ability to, and I'm not saying it's some magical special ability, but it's just somehow it's worked for me, that I could sit in front of a camera and I could talk to people with my animals and I could make so many people so happy. And that's like my dream job, honestly, because before, I've always loved animals, but I thought about going into acting because I wanted to do something where people could sit down and watch me do something and smile and just, escape their own mind. To find out I had this ability to sit down in a camera, be myself, not have to act, and talk about animals and still do all that stuff, it was amazing to me. This is everything I've ever wanted to do, and I'm not gonna just chicken out and leave because I've made mistakes. I'm gonna keep trying, and I'm gonna keep trying to be the best person I can be for you guys. Because literally nothing makes me happier at night than knowing that I've made someone else's day easier. And
made my day easier
that I'm able to do that while expressing my love of animals. I've had so many people tell me, like, I was terrified of snakes before you, and now I see their beauty. And I, used to hate this animal, and you now make me smile with them.
I'm not saying I hate snakes, but
that is just everything.
She definitely made it easier for me too.
So as negative as this video was, I am so grateful for everything. I'm grateful that even though I've made mistakes, that I have this platform. I'm so grateful I even have this platform to make mistakes on. Okay? I'm so grateful that there's so many amazing, beautiful people on this planet that I get to talk to every day with all of my medical problems and my
she can talk to me
struggles in life. We all got them. With mine, I honestly thought that I would never connect with people and that I was just going to be like some shut-in. And the fact that I've been able to do this is just a dream come true, and I'm not going to give up. So,
can we just say, though, before this video ends, this fish back here is literally enjoying life. Now, if nothing else in this video you take away, this fish is enjoying life. I will say that.
Thank you guys so much for watching my videos. Thank you. And thank you for going on this journey with me through the ups and the downs and all that stuff. Thank you. Okay, I love you guys. I just wanted to end it on a little better note because it was a little sad. So, okay. Bye.
Okay.
Do you write anything on your computer?
Okay, so what I will say, let's talk about this. What I'll say is I think she did a great job addressing everything. I think it definitely cleared the air. I think I definitely still have some concerns, obviously, rightfully so. I do think that the second part did open up a lot of stuff and talk about a lot of important issues. It's just going to be one of those things where we're just going to have to wait and see how she does. She can say a lot now, but we have to make sure that she's going to follow through with it, and that's just by, watching and commenting and critiquing, not necessarily critiquing, but offering advice as she goes. I'm glad she talked about the monitor situation. I did talk about that in one of my other videos about impulse buying turtles. I think the important takeaway from here is she made a mistake, she addressed it, she apologized. The only thing we can do now is just watch and wait and see what happens. But like I said before, this is the last video that I'm going to be making on her for a while. I have a lot of other video ideas about my hamster, my tarantulas, and my African clawed frogs. This is going to be the last video for the week. I've made a lot of videos this week just because this has been so big. A lot of people have been talking about it. A lot of people have been asking about it. But if you want to follow me on Twitter, you can. I'll be posting tweets, obviously continuing posting tweets about stuff. Definitely commenting on Taylor's stuff and trying to help her out as well. So if you guys have an opinion, maybe something I said that you didn't like or something she said you didn't like, leave it in the comments down below. Let me know how you feel about the second half of the video. I'm kind of still processing it, I think, so I'm going to need some time to think about everything. But I hope you guys have a fantastic weekend, and I will see you on Monday. Bye. I don't know why I put my hand to the camera, because you can see the whole screen.